Hello everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to my channel. Amongst other things, I'm a reenactor and a jouster, and today I want to talk to you about 3 things that are useful for every reenactor to have that are modern. Things that you can go down to normal shops to buy instead of having to have made for you by a craftsperson. So, number 1, I think that you should get some waterproof socks. So something, properly waterproof, something like Gore-Tex or something like that. I know these are not authentic, and I definitely, if you're doing a living history impression and you're really into that, which is something that I really enjoy doing sometimes, obviously these aren't the thing to go for. You might be wanting something more like this. These are patterns, and these are used by medieval people to keep their shoes out of the mud. They come in a variety of different styles. These ones have got a hinge to them. They're basically an extra wooden sole to go over the bottom of the boot, to keep the boot out of the mud and to keep your feet nice and dry. The reason you need these is that the medieval boot is not waterproof. But we don't really see people in battle wearing this sort of thing. It's a little bit unstable. It's very easy to turn your ankle and to hurt yourself if you're wearing one of these, charging about a battlefield and possibly falling over. So, in battle, the medieval person would not bother with wearing this sort of thing. They would just be wearing their normal boots. Obviously, when you're fighting for your life, dry feet isn't really a big deal. You're probably going to get a little bit covered in blood anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much whether or not you end up with wet or dry feet, which is why I think a pair of waterproof socks, when you're doing this for a hobby and you're not actually going to get covered in blood, or hopefully not going to get covered in blood, a pair of waterproof socks is a really good way of keeping those feet dry, keeping those hose dry, making sure that you're comfortable and that you don't ruin your nice hose for the battle that you're going to have to do again in the afternoon, or maybe again the next day. So a pair of waterproof socks, nice dark colour like black so that they don't show up, will keep your feet nice and dry inside your period authentic shoes, and actually they'll give a better period impression than if you're wearing patterns, which while they are the period correct way of keeping your feet dry, do not show up in many illustrations of battles. Thing number 2, get yourself some electronic candles. Now these obviously don't look like authentic candles, but you can get ones that have a flicker effect to them. And if you are presenting something in a tent or something like that, or in a historical building, having a flicker effect is basically what you need. That's why you would have a candle lit. Why not just light normal candles? Well, a lot of the time people do use normal real candles, but they're actually pretty inauthentic anyway. Candles would be dipped. Here are some authentic candles, authentic beeswax candles. So these would be dipped. You would have the wick, and they would be created by dipping a wick into beeswax or tallow or a variety of other things. We tend to use beeswax nowadays because a lot of the alternatives that they did use in history actually don't smell very nice. Beeswax is the nicest smelling authentic thing. So you could use something like this. This would look authentic, but actually a lot of the time, for the things that we're doing, if we're in a tent, in a field, you wouldn't be using candles very much, especially for if you're like me and you do historical battle reenactment, that you're not really going to be doing much entertaining. You travel to a place, and you don't need to stay up late or anything like that. So 1 or 2 candles is fine, but you don't need these. If you're doing a presentation, all you really need is the flicker effect. And the problem with a bare light in a tent in the middle of a field is that it is a big fire hazard. Now we do have fires outside the tents and things like that, but it's very easy to forget about just that one little candle that you left in your tent. How do I know this? Well, a good friend of mine had their tent and all of their kit burned down due to a candle that they accidentally left going in their tent. So I would always recommend, if you are reenactment camping, use a flicker effect electronic candle, unless you are standing right next to the lantern. Okay, thing number 3, get yourself a wooden box. Here's one of mine. Wooden boxes are great because they hide a multitude of sins. You don't need to get one made and carved specially for you. You could even make one yourself, but a wooden box is really useful for hiding all of the nice little modern things that you might have about your camp, and then you just pop that under your bed and you're ready for the next day. So there we have it, 3 things that I think every reenactor should have. Some waterproof socks, use electronic candles, and a nice wooden box to store all of those modern things in. What about you? Do any of you guys reenact? What things would you recommend that people have? You know, maybe things that they can get a little bit easier, things that they wouldn't have to commission. What should they get to improve their reenacting and to make things better for themselves? Do leave a comment down below. Please share this with your friends, maybe reenactors or people who are thinking about getting into reenacting. And thank you to everyone who has done that in the past, who has subscribed. It really helps me. It encourages me to continue making these videos. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.